Hi, today I'm on the Moray Firth, there you go, and the plan is to climb up that headland behind me and camp in a hidden little cove over there. And when I get there, I'll tell you the story of the incident that happened there and how it incurred the wrath of the infamous Ivan the Terrible, the Queen of Scotland and the Queen of England. So let's get going. Well, that's me in the spot that I'm going to camp tonight. And tonight I'm going to be using a tent that I've not used on the channel before. I'm going to use a Lanshan 2. Now that is a trekking pole tent and I haven't bought any trekking poles with me, which, yeah, is a bit of a problem. But I have bought some poles that I've made because I want to be able to use the Lanshan as my cycling tent and also my motor camping tent. And I don't intend to take with me trekking poles when I'm on my motorbike or my bike. So tonight really is a proof of concept. So I've made some poles and we'll see if it's going to work. So I'll get the tent up and I'll show you around once it's up. Well, that's me all set up, and all in all it's gone up pretty well. The ground is very soft and this tent relies on guy lines for its stability, obviously. So some of the pegs I've had to put rocks on top of, but all in all it's okay. The fixed poles, I'm going to one side, these, they actually work all right. And it means that I can use this tent if I am cycling or on a motorbike and I don't want to take trekking poles with me. But I have to say trekking poles are better because I'm on a slight hill, and because of that, the fixed length of the poles mean that the fly sheet at the back is quite high up. Now, if I'd got trekking poles, I could have lowered them slightly and leveled the tent out. So it is better with trekking poles. Who knew a trekking pole tent would be better if you use trekking poles, but it will work with these little lightweight poles if I have to. Anyway, so what I'm actually camping with tonight is, it's still quite cold. It's 6 degrees now. It looks a lot sunnier and warmer than that, but it's 6 degrees, and tonight it's going to drop down to freezing. So I've got my Flextail R9 rated sleeping pad. I've got my Leviathan 4-season bag. I've got a couple of Trekology blow up pillows, and I've got them in a pillowcase with an elastic because they kind of ping out if I don't do that. And yeah, that's me really. And I've got a down jacket. If I get really cold in the night, I've got a down jacket with me. So I think what I'll do before tea time is I'll tell you why I've come to this cove. I'll tell you the story of the shipwreck that caused an international dispute. So here we go. The Edward Bonadventure was an English sailing ship under the command of the Tudor explorer and adventurer Richard Chancellor. Now, during a voyage in 1553 exploring deep into the Arctic Circle, the ships and his party were forced to take shelter on the north coast of Russia, where Archangel is now, due to severe winter weather conditions. Their forced stay became protracted, and during their time in Russia, Richard Chancellor came into contact with the court of the infamous Ivan the Terrible. Now, the captain was a charismatic man and he hit it off with the often volatile Ivan. They quickly became friends and a full-on bromance occurred. Now, during their time together, they came up with a deal to trade between England and Russia, and with this deal, the Muscovy Company was formed. Eventually, in 1556, the Edward Bonadventure set sail from Russia on a very important diplomatic mission. On board was a Russian ambassador and a shipload of treasure, supposedly furs, amber, gold and lots of precious goodies, all to meet with Mary Tudor, Queen of England, who was the eldest daughter of Henry VIII and the half-sister of the future Queen, Elizabeth I. Now, the Queen had communicated with Richard Chancellor and agreed to a meeting to discuss forming a political alliance between Russia and England. It was quite a big deal. Now, it's said to have been the richest haul of treasure ever loaded onto one ship. Unfortunately, as the Edward Bonadventure sailed down the North Sea with the Russian ambassador and all the goodies on board, a huge storm blew up, and when the ship tried to find shelter in the Moray Firth, it was driven ashore near Quarry Head, just 2 miles west of Pitsligo Castle. Hundreds were killed in the shipwreck, including the skipper Richard Chancellor. But amazingly, the Russian ambassador survived, who, while sitting on the shore, witnessed firsthand the stripping of the wreck by the local people. Now, by the time the English authorities found out and sent people to the wreck site, the treasure was nowhere to be found. The shite properly hit the fan and a full-on diplomatic incident kicked off between the courts of England, Scotland and Russia. Now, at the time, Scotland was being ruled by the Queen's mother, as Mary Queen of Scots was still a child. The Queen's mother, Mary de Guise, was not impressed, and she ordered a judicial inquiry into the disappearance of all the Russian loot. The inquiry was hastily arranged and was conducted in the hall of Pitsligo's old keep. The two main suspects were the two local lairds, Forbes of Pitsligo and Fraser of Philorth. The two men were interviewed by the assembled court and both pleaded complete ignorance of the looting of the shipwreck or the whereabouts of the contents of the Edward Bonadventure. The court concluded the treasure was lost and all the dignitaries were sent back to where they came from, happy that the two local lairds were not involved. It was never discovered what happened to the vast wealthy cargo that was salvaged from the wreck. Homes were searched and nothing was found. But some years later, after a respectable amount of time, the castles of both the two lairds of Pitsligo and Philorth both had major extensions, and both families thrived from that time on. In fact, the two families even went on to build their own towns nearby. The Frasers built the town of Fraserburgh, which even had a university for a while, and the Forbeses built Roshearty. Obviously, the Frasers and the Forbes still to this day claim they had nothing to do with the cargo of the Edward Bonadventure. Well, it's 5 o'clock and the sun is going down rapidly. It's going to be dark in an hour, so I think I'm going to get some dinner on. I've come over here because there's a hatch of flies going on over there, kind of March brown mayfly type things. They're not biting, they're not midges. And once it gets dark, they'll go away. So I'm gonna cook my dinner here, and I'm actually setting up for a fire once it goes dark. I've got some driftwood off the beach. Hopefully it's dry enough to have a fire, and I've dug a little pit. So this will be me for this evening, just down here. But for dinner, yeah, my spicy noodles tonight are not spicy and they're not noodles. I've bought some more of this Dolmio kind of tomato and basil pasta. I'm gonna heat it in a pan with some meatballs. So I've also got a tin of Fray Bentos chicken meatballs in tomato sauce. So I'm going to have that and some pasta. And for afters, I've left it up at the tent. I've got some deluxe rice pudding as well, but there's a lot of pasta and meatballs here, so if I'm full, I'll have the rice pudding for breakfast. So I'll crack on with doing this. Now, I bought 2 packs of this, but I'm not sure whether one's going to be enough. It's hard to tell. It was £1 a bag, so I'm not too worried if I don't use both of them. Yeah, I reckon we'll cook them both. No point in taking them home. Yeah, it's quite a lot of pasta, though, that is. Well, I'm a growing boy. Eesh. Yeah, that looks interesting. Not in a good way. Let's find a spoon. I think if I can fish some of them out, fish some of the meatballs out, rather than using all the sauce. But maybe not. Oh, what the hell. In for a penny. Oh, gosh. Yep, I'm making a bit of a mess. Well, hopefully the sauce from the meatballs will help the pasta to cook, because I don't think these are, well, they're designed to be cooked in a microwave, I think. Yes. Oh no, you can cook them in a pan as well. That's all right. So we'll put all that in there. I've got a bin bag on the go up at the tent. I'll take them up to there in a minute. Put the rubbish behind there. Let's... There we are. Seems a bit hot. We'll turn that down a bit. See if we can get the moisture to go to the bottom of the pan and get some heat through this. There we go. Wow, what a big orange mess that is. Okay, let's see how that turns out. The observant amongst you will have noticed that I'm not using my little ultra lightweight stove. I stood on it. So yeah, my little fire maple stove is no more. So I've replaced it and upgraded it. So this is the Soto Windmaster, and it's fractionally bigger in size, but it's more versatile. It can take bigger pans. It's got a built-in wind kind of screen at the top, but the best feature of it is it's got a pressure regulating valve, so as the gas canisters drop down, it still keeps the same pressure. And it's got a piezo, which is not a deal breaker for me because I've always got a lighter in my pocket, but it's useful to have as well. So anyway, let's see if we can get some. Oh yeah, that's definitely smelling like it's burning. Let's turn that down a bit. Which way's down? That's definitely up. It's not helping that I can't see it. There we go. Let's just heat that slowly. Well, that's dinner ready and it looks pretty good. Yeah, it did catch a little bit on the bottom. That's a bit of a ferocious burner, so I'm gonna have to learn how to use it. But I'm ready for this. I'm gonna tuck in and I'll bring you back when I'm done. And while it was cooking, I went and got rice pudding. So if I can get this all down my neck, I'm going to go for some rice pudding. So I'll see you when this is done. Well, that's dinner done and washed up in the sea. Kind of caught on the bottom a little bit. What do I think? Dolmio Pronto and Fray Brentos meatballs, very bland. If I'm going to do that again, I'm going to have to bring some seasoning with me because, yeah, there's not spicy and there's no seasoning at all, and it needed salt and pepper and something else. So, yeah, and not the easiest to cook. Thin pans, powerful burner. Yeah, the sauce wasn't wet enough. In fact, I had to add some water. So it's not going to be my go-to meal, I don't think. But I'll be back to noodles pretty soon. I just fancy something different, and I saw them in the shops, but yeah, they were okay. But to lift the meal, I've got room, so we're going to go for this. And this is always good. Deluxe rice pudding, straight out the can. Oh, there we go. Put that in the rubbish. There we go. I'm not sponsored by them. I wish I was. But if you like rice pudding, get some of that. So I'll see you when this is done. Well, that's dinner done. Got myself a nice cup of coffee. That was a thing called the Clever Dripper. If you're into fresh coffee, it's one of the best ways I've found for making coffee in the field. If you're interested, I'll put a link to James Hoffman, who's a coffee expert, and he did a video on them because he can tell you a lot better than I can. But yeah, it's called the Clever Dripper. It's a cross between a filter and a percolator. So it makes great coffee anyway. But I'm going to sit here and drink my coffee, watch the sun go down. It's pretty much down over there. I reckon I've got about half an hour's worth of light left. Once it's completely dark, I'm going to light my fire. It is truly great to be out again, because we have had the wettest, windiest, dullest winter I have ever known. Now, I live in Scotland and I live in the north of Scotland, so I'm used to getting weather, but it's been grey and we went for weeks without seeing the sun. So getting a beautiful blue sky day like this is just a tonic I needed. So I'm going to enjoy the sunlight while it's here, and then I'll get a fire on. It's already getting a bit chilly. I'll put my hat on, but I think I'll sit here and watch the fire and chill out for a bit. So I'll see you when I light the fire. Well, that's it, pitch black now. It's about 7:15. It's getting proper cold now, temperature's dropping. I've got myself a fire lit. It's driftwood off the beach, so it's not the driest wood in the world, but it is starting to burn, so I'll spin you around and let you see it. So yeah, not the best stuff in the world, but you know, you've got to use what you've got, and that's all there is. So I'll spin you around. I don't know if you'll make out what's out there. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's coming out on camera, but yeah, it's proper dark. There's no moon, and it's going to be a dark one. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the most from this fire, get a bit of warmth, and then I'll see you back at the tent. I'm going to go over there, listen to my audio book, so I'll see you back at the tent. Well, that's me in my tent, and I think I'm going to get my head down. It's about 10 o'clock. I've burnt all the wood I've got, and it's getting really cold out there, so I'm going to get my head down, listen to my book for a bit, and I'll see you all in the morning. So I'll see you in the morning. Well, good morning. That was a cold night. Thankfully, down jacket and my sleeping bag kept me nice and warm. But yeah, it was definitely chilly. So I think it's time to get up. It's about 6:30. Sun is just coming up. Get a brew on, get some breakfast even, and then get packed up. So let's get on with that. Well, I have my porridge, cup of tea, and I'm warming up a bit now. It's still very frosty out here, so I'm going to get the rest of my stuff packed up and we'll walk out of here. That's me all packed up. I've left no trace. The ring of stones was here when I got here and I didn't use it. But there's nothing left. In fact, I've picked up other people's rubbish as well. It's all in my bin bag. So time to walk up that steep hill. So as I said before, I'll see you back at the van. Well, that's me back at the van. All in all, a good camp. I think the poles will need a bit of work on at the moment. They're moving around, the tops are not thick enough, and they're sliding about, so a little bit more work needs done there. But the tent stayed up and I stayed dry, so it was all good. So I think that's it for this camp. If you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up and leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Ta-da!